Do ads on social media actually help to sell your book? Nerd Nation. Hey, today we're going to talk about paid social media ads for authors, what actually works, and what will burn through your money. Now, this is going to be pretty quick. This is kind of be a little bit more like a primer for you. You can always go back and watch it, but there's going to be a lot of ideas and concepts. We're going to go fairly quickly, right? I don't have too much time to get into the nitty gritty, and maybe I'll do a live Q&A session one of these days where we can go about some of these topics a little bit more in detail. This is a vast topic, right? Everything that you buy, that you purchase, that you see, it all comes from marketing that was brought to you of why you purchased that, right? So this is a vast topic that is ever changing, ever evolving. And this book marketing is just one product of literally billions that are out there. But the same principles that you learn here can be applied pretty much at every aspect of marketing, right? You're marketing yourself, you're marketing different products, drinks, food, and this one is going to be about books, right? So don't get overwhelmed by this one. We'll go through some details. Like I said, I'm going to introduce a lot of concepts pretty quickly. If you're new at this, um, it might feel like you're drinking out of a fire hydrant, but and you'll have to do additional research. But the idea of this is to get all these ideas and terms kind of front loaded in your mind so that you know what to start researching and looking into. Okay, so who am I? Sterling Nixon, author of Nickel Brickleby series, Acadia series, 7 Days, Gladiators of Nemachia, and a bunch of other books. I've been writing since 1999. First book published in 2009. All right, today we're going to talk about the $800 mistake. An author spent $800 on Facebook ads in a single weekend, sold 4 books, had absolutely no idea why it failed. And this happens quite a bit, right? Especially when people venture out there or their book is just coming out. They're like, I've got a marketing budget of $800 and they expect some return on that investment ROI. And turns out they sold 4 books. Is it their book is the worst book ever? Probably not. It's probably for this. It is probably comes down to the marketing of the book. Social media can be very powerful, but there is a learning curve to it. That author makes every single mistake. That author makes every single mistake we're going to cover today. By the end of this video, you'll never be that author. All right, what this episode delivers: how Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok actually work. We're going to talk about the various platforms, what works good on them, and what doesn't, and why they are completely different. What a realistic first budget looks like, and how to test without burning through it all. The specific 7 mistakes that silently destroy ad campaigns for authors. Honest disclaimer, paid ads are not a magic button. They are still they are a skill that takes testing, patience, and strategy. And honestly, uh, it seems like my ads, I have to redo them every 6 months. Like the market is shifting, the products are shifting, the trends of how to market something are changing. So it's something that's ever evolving and it's ever changing. Okay, ads amplify already what works, but they don't fix what doesn't work. Fix your product page first, right? If your cover is weak, description unclear, or Amazon page is a mess, ads will pour money into a broken funnel faster than you can imagine. Cover, description, reviews, and price must all work together before you spend a dollar. Your cover is your baseline. Like if that does not pop, it does not sing, doesn't sell your genre, it is going to be a struggle to pull people in through ads. Ads simply amplify those sort of things. So you're going to get attention on this thing, but if they show up and it's not well put together, it's not going to work out well for you. Ads are a testing process. Your first ad will almost certainly not be profitable. That's not failure, that's data. Authors who win at ads treat the first $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 as tuition, not waste. You're learning a skill set that you can apply not only in book sales, book marketing, but in many different facets of your life. but it is a steep learning curve, right? But stick with it, have patience, and a little bit by little bit, you're going to get a little bit better at it every day. Understand the funnel. And this is probably one of the biggest things that most new to marketers don't necessarily understand, right? The the top of the funnel, just imagine a funnel, right? The top of the funnel, which has the largest amount of people at the top, cold audiences need awareness content, not a hard sell, right? You're just going to push away cold audiences. In the audiences that have never been introduced to you, your content, your books, and you give them a hard pitch, it's going to be a hard pass. Middle, they're warm audiences, but they need social proof. Social proof is basically reviews that are on your page about your books, who you are. Um, they need that social proof, basically someone saying, yeah, I took a chance on it and it paid off. And towards the bottom, you've got your near buyers. They just need a nudge, right? These would be individuals that have maybe read a book or two from you in the past, or they like your content on social media. And basically, they just need a little nudge, maybe awareness that your book is out. Most authors run buy my book ads to cold audiences. And obviously it just doesn't work. 2 goals for book ads. Short term, direct sales, get someone to click and buy now, right? And long term, building an audience that buys every book you ever release. So those are vastly different objectives, and you have to be wise going into it. For example, if you invest $1,000 and you give out a free book, obviously you're not making any money on that book. But let's say that free book comes with, they have to provide their email address. So now you have a way to contact them. And then all of a sudden they are engaging through the email process. They end up reading your book. They love your book. Now they have a good way to communicate. Next time you have a book come out, you send them an email, and all of a sudden they become a warm audience. They're a near buyer. They just need that nudge, right? That's a very different goal than short-term sales. Basically, I want to break even or make a little profit off my book. Those are vastly different objectives. Facebook ads. Now, Facebook is the most complex ad platform, social media platform that I am aware of. There might be more out there that are more complex, but I feel like I have to be a brain surgeon. So take a deep breath when you are logging on to Facebook ads and you figure out the first time. Just know that even the people that have done this a lot are still there with you. It's still not a fun process. And the funny thing about Facebook, they move stuff all the time. They change stuff all the time. And it's just like, dude, if you just keep it the same, I don't know why you're punishing us, right? But they move stuff all the time and change it, and the buttons and little terminologies. It's frustrating. But it is also still the most powerful. And it's most powerful. Um, we'll get into it. Why Facebook is still number one for books. Most sophisticated targeting of any platform. So if you watch my last episode about finding your tribe, narrowing your audience as much as you can to specific people that are invested or interested in your topic. Facebook allows you to do that. The other social media platforms, not so much. We'll talk about those a little bit more. Facebook even used to be a lot more. You could really specify your audience even much more, but they've actually taken away some of those features where you can't specify your audience as much as you once were able to. But it skews 35 plus, right? So if you have a young adult reader book, well, that's funny actually, because I advertise a lot for Earthworks, which is a young adult reader, and I sell a lot of books off of Facebook. But a lot of times it's to grandparents, right, who want to get their kids reading. But this is 35 plus, the most reliable book buying demographic. Meta Ads Manager runs Facebook and Instagram ads simultaneously from one campaign, which can make it easier. But also the size, it can also make it really frustrating too, because like an ad on Instagram has different sizes, and Instagram's kind of like a square, and then Facebook has different sizes. It can be really a frustrating process. All right, how the algorithm works. You don't pick who sees your ad. You pick the type of person, right? This is a very different system than TikTok and TikTok. We'll talk about that in a second. You pick the type of person and Facebook finds them. Ads that generate engagement, clicks save shares, cost less. Bad ads don't just fail, they get more expensive. If your ad is just not, it's just not good, it's not quality. Like Facebook will identify that as a low quality sort of product or creative. And they will purposely make it so that ad doesn't get out there as much because Facebook wants to maintain their brand. And if there is stuff that's not quality, they don't want to push it out to their audience. Targeting that actually works. Target fans of authors with similar books. Single most effective method. Basically, you find an author that's similar to your genre or that is very similar to your book in scope or at least in emotional pacing. And then you can figure out what audience they have and then add in there things like Kindle or audiobook so you can narrow that even more. So it's not just like individuals, let's say Hunger Games that saw the movie of Hunger Games. No, it's Hunger Games plus the ebook or the Audible, specifically the people that are interested in reading a book or listening to a book. Realistic budget, testing phase, $5 to $10 per day per ad, run 3 to 4 variations. I can't express how important running variations of ads is. If I get some more time, we'll do a deep dive into how to run variations of ads, but it's exactly what it sounds like. So if you have 4 pictures of the exact same thing and you have 4 different texts of that same picture, right? Right in that, you're testing the text because the picture is all the same, right? And then once you find out which is the winning text, you take that text and then you can run that again. Same picture, 4 different texts based off the improved text that you already had. And then you could start figuring out winning ads. Now you just test it out with a low amount of money, right? But then once you have the text down, let's say you get 3 or 4 good texts that you know is the most effective. Well, then you use one text and then you change 4 different pictures, right? Now you're testing the pictures of that ad. Then you do that and then you do it again. And then you eventually have an ad component of 2 parts that you put together. And then you have a winning ad. That's A and B testing. And that's a very quick lesson on it, explanation of it. You can really get deep dive into it. And I suggest that you do, right? Figure out A and B testing. That is fundamental marketing 101, right? And that works not just with books, just with everything. All right, minimum meaningful test, $150 to $200. You want to scale your winning ads by max 20% per day. Doubling overnight resets the algorithm's entire optimization data. So if you're getting winning ads, you can scale it up by 20%. Much more than that, especially if you double it, it's going to destroy the algorithm. So you got to be careful with that when you're scaling. Never use Boost Post. It is the most expensive and least targeted option Facebook offers. I have made that mistake and I accidentally boosted a post. I meant to put $100 and I put 1,000. And that was an unfortunate mistake because a whole bunch of people got this content that they weren't interested in at all. Like the boost post for Facebook, it's just not great because it just blasts it out there, shotguns it out to everybody. All right, Instagram, same platform as Facebook, completely different audience and mindset. What works? It's much more aesthetically driven. So like a aesthetic book photography, moody, cozy, beautiful, depending on the type of genre of book. Short reels, reading a gripping passage, quote, graphics, one powerful line, made visual, story ads, full screen, immersive, often cheaper, right? So that's the frustrating thing. Like you can run ads contemporaneously with Instagram and Facebook, but it almost feels like they should just be totally different advertising platforms. I typically just advertise on Facebook because it's so hard to be trying to advertise at the same time when they have different, your creatives have different sizes. It's just frustrating. So what fails on Instagram? Text heavy ads, generic buy my book copy, and we talked about that, low quality images. And low quality images, that's just never gonna fly, right? The Reels opportunity. Reel ads are currently the most underpriced ad real estate on Instagram. The algorithm promotes Reels to compete with TikTok, lower cost, higher organic reach. And I've actually found a lot of success, and this is recent with my research, a lot of success with Reels and a pretty impressive ROI, return on investment, for the money that I spent on Reels. I actually especially find it valuable with this sort of face-to-face conversational content. Budget story ads, a cent to 3 cents a view, which is a really good price. Feed ads is 50 cents to 150 a click. And if you do $5 to $10 per day, you want to spend at least 7 days before judging. That is a cardinal rule. Don't turn off your ad early. Wait 7 days. You're going to want to see the impact. Let the algorithm, social media, work for you, right? Find the people that it needs to. All right, golden rule. Make content, not commercials. If your ad looks like an ad, it fails. Show emotion in the first 3 seconds. Don't list features. Spend an hour or two looking at all the ads out there and have kind of an internal monologue like, why is this not working? Why is this working? Why did I engage with that? A lot of times, a single photo of just a face up close can be more powerful than a genre-specific creative art of your book. I don't know if that made sense. But basically, someone's face engaging, like a picture of someone's face that is involved in your ad, can be more powerful than some dude riding a dinosaur with a sword, even though that's specific to maybe your genre, right? So do some testing on that with different photographs. Typically, your genre specific photographs aren't good, which is interesting because you think it'd be just the opposite. Content first algorithm, TikToks. On Facebook, you define your audience. On TikTok, you make great content and the algorithm finds the audience for you. This is completely different from Facebook. So Facebook, you define the audience you want. Then you push out the ad creatives. TikTok, you push out the creatives and they will find the audience. So very different approach. TikTok is much, much, much easier to use, but can be much less effective because TikTok's finding the crowd versus you could find the crowd. BookTok has already proven TikTok has the highest impulse purchase behavior of any platform. BookTok has generated billions in organic book sales. Users are in content consumption mode and will spontaneously buy what a creator recommends. So BookTokers right now is a powerful, powerful thing. And it's kind of like the book marketing has really gone to TikTok. Although I do like to advertise on Facebook a lot, TikTok is definitely taking over a large part of the space. And that's because of the influencers that are now on BookTok. Spark ads, right? So when you boost, if you on TikTok specifically, not on Facebook, if you find a post that's doing really well, you can actually boost that, right? Boost an existing organic post that's already performing well. The content has proven it resonates. You're putting fuel on a fire that's already lit. So boost on TikTok, not on Facebook. So on budget with TikTok, you have a minimum of $20 a day. So you have to spend that much. Versus Meta, you can go quite a bit lower. You go like $5. I think, I don't know, maybe at least as low as $5. But you still want to have a good test, right? $500 minimum for a real test. Best approach, grow organic first, then use Spark ads on your best videos. So make a bunch of videos, be organic, and then boost the videos that are doing the best. Pick the platform that matches your audience and your creative strength. So there's a lot of different demographic information here. Facebook's going to be older, Instagram a little bit younger, and TikTok is going to be the youngest. You have to look at your book, see who has the purchasing power for your target audience, and figure out which one is going to work for you. Ironically, for my young adult fiction book, Facebook is usually where I find the most success. With Acadia, the jury's still out on it. but I am seeing a lot of success in TikTok, and it's a sci-fi book. So, okay, so you could pause this and look at it directly. All right, here's 7 mistakes that'll burn through your money. Be specific. These are why $800 disappear with 4 sales. Sending cold traffic directly to Amazon. Amazon is a horrible landing page, even if you jazz it up as best you can. A lot of times it's great to have a landing page that kind of warms up your reader, engages them a little bit more um, before they get that nudge to the Amazon for a purchase. Turning ads off after 48 hours, 7 days is usually the best litmus test for those ads. Running one ad instead of multiple variations. We talked about the A and B testing. Targeting too broadly or too narrowly, right? Um, so too broad, budget evaporates on people who don't read. Too narrow, not enough people for the algorithm to optimize. Ignoring ad creative quality. Your ads, if they aren't quality, like quality pictures, quality text, quality, like if they get rated poorly in quality, it's almost worth just not using that ad because Facebook isn't going to push that. It's going to diminish it and kind of turn down the spigot on that ad. So your ad quality should be exceptional. Chasing vanity metrics. You know, people get kind of a rush, a dopamine hit when they've got a lot of clicks, they got a lot of likes, got a lot of hearts. But if those things aren't translating into your specific goals, then it doesn't matter much, right? So a good CTR, so click through rate. A good CTR is about for an ad is 1%, which sounds really low, but most of my CTRs are about 1.5% and 2%. And I always think, oh man, that's horrible, but no, that's actually really good. Under 0.5% means the creative isn't working. So that's a really good metric to measure that by. All right, spend money before you have reviews. Ads drive people to your page, and if they get to the page, there's no reviews. Maybe there's bad reviews. Maybe it's not filled out very good. It's going to be a hard sell, right? People really crave the social proof, especially like if your book's been out for quite some time. It's got a dozen reviews. It's going to be much harder, right? So focusing on getting reviews, honest reviews to your book is a great place to start before you start putting money into ads, right? Ads amplify what's already working or not working. If there's no reviews on your book, obviously sending more people to it is probably going to make it it's not going to work any better. All right, so you want at least 10, 15 reviews. Honestly, I would say even more than that. But don't turn off your ads for 7 days. You want multiple creative variations, 3 to 4 creative different ads. Your audience should be about 500,000 to 2 million. And keep track of all your statistics and keep track of all the things that you develop as creatives or different lessons that you have learned so that you don't have to repeat those lessons. Ignore impressions and likes. Measure what connects to actual sales. These are the important metrics: CTRs, CPC, cost per click or click-through rate, cost per click, cost per sale, and lifetime value. All right, so a lot of times with the lifetime value, if you don't make money on your first book, but let's say you have 7 books in the series, let's say you don't even make money off your second book. Well, if you have several books in the series and you're able to sell one book, the formula I often use is if someone buys the book, I typically uh, take 50% of the book sales for the first book and extrapolate it to the next books. And then I use that as the profit margin for how successful an ad would be. I don't know if that made sense. Hopefully it did. Made sense in my head. All right, here is a concrete 4-week starter plan for authors. Total budget $300 to $500. Week 1, start with 5 to 10 days or $5 to $10. Facebook, Instagram traffic ads. Run 3 ad variations, targeting fans of 3 comparable authors. Let the algorithm learn. Do not touch it. That's for at least 7 days. Then on week 3, review data, kill the 2 underperforming ads, put the remaining budget behind the single winner. If nothing is performing, test new creatives before spending more. And week 4, scale or reset. If one ad is profitable, gradually increase budget by max of 20% per day. If none are profitable after $150 spent at $150 a click, stop, fix the creative, and start again. And this is why marketing can be so tedious, because I find myself, the ads I do that are really successful now, 6 months from now, they are less successful. So just bear that in mind, right? This is a constant process. You're constantly learning on how to get better and how to put out ads that are speaking to people differently, right? All right, spending $150 or spending $1.50 per click, no sales after 150, stop it and fix creative, breaking even, keep running. If it's profitable, slowly scale. So if you look at the bottom there, that's just a little cheat sheet of how to approach that. All right, the only takeaways you need to walk away with. I know this was a lot of information really quickly, but just focus on these things. You can review the video as well as do additional research on your side. The hope of this video isn't to make you masters in marketing, but to introduce some concepts to you that might be applicable, that you can actually do your own individual research, right? And then you can build out a little bit better on how to capture these things. So fix your book page before you spend $1. Ads amplify everything, good and bad. 2, test small, learn fast, and never judge an ad in under 7 days. Patience is the strategy. Your creative, the video or image, is doing 80% of the work. Invest there first. Your ads got to look good, right? All right, so here is the question for the day. What platform are you most nervous about advertising on? Drop it below. I'll answer every one. For me, it's, it can change. Facebook is always intimidating. I'm getting a little bit better at it. TikTok's super easy, but sometimes it's less effective. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. All right, so please do the things like, comment below, subscribe, check out StirringTheMix.com, check out my merch page. I'm still doing the race to 1,000. I'm trying to get 1,000 additional reviews on Acadia before the second book, audiobook, comes out in July. I'm willing to give you a free book in exchange for an honest review. That helps me tremendously. That supports me tremendously. So if you want to participate, just see the comments below. Anyway, that's all I got for you. You guys have a good one.